we get into, I wish we could take a quick snack break and have some Karlie cookies, Klossy cookies.
I wish you hadn't said that. That's one of the nastier things I've ever heard you say.
But instead, we're going to jump right into Karlie Kloss. What's up with her?
I've just been very interested in who she is because she is this like figure that looms large both in the middle and on the outside. Do you know what I mean? I feel like she got to go to Taylor's wedding. She seems to always be like stoking the flames of these gossip blogs. She's buying up magazines. She's kind of in cahoots with the Kushners and the Trumps, but she's a Democrat.
Saying that she looms is height negative language.
Sometimes I feel like everybody is a sexy baby and I'm the monster on the hill. Maybe that's why she loved Karlie Kloss. She's like, I found the one bitch bigger than me. She's 6'2".
I know. It's very impressive. We're all very impressed.
Oh, yeah, that does impress you.
Anyway, so Karlie Kloss, born August 3rd, 1992.
That makes me and her exactly the same age, basically.
I know.
And I really was like, wow, she's so much more accomplished than me. But she started so early and she had such a height advantage.
Yeah. So I think maybe by the time you're her height, you'll be just as successful. So she was discovered at 13 years old at like a local runway show in St. Louis. Which
her and Kate Middleton. Ladies, if your daughters aren't in local runway shows, they're never going to make it out of your small town.
It was before the internet when you knew by the time they were 12 if they were ever going to make it out or not.
And she like found stardom kind of immediately.
Yeah. She started modeling. She like got a bunch of runway shows immediately.
I think they say she was scouted at 13, but then it seems like, and then by the end of the week, I was 15.
Famous.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
I feel like she was scouted at 14 and then maybe she was scouted at 13 by the time they signed the things. And then, but she gets to New York at like 14, 15.
Yeah.
She walks in Calvin Klein, becomes the most famous model of all time. And in that year does 61 runway shows.
That's
like
so
opening
crazy.
And closing them. Yeah.
I feel like her success was pretty cemented in 2013 when she became a Victoria's Secret angel. She had done the Victoria's Secret show before that. And that's, I think, where she met her husband.
Yeah. So Joshua Kushner, if you don't know, is a big venture capitalist. He obviously comes from the Kushners, which is, they're so successful, they sent the dad to jail, which is, show me a family that has developer money and I'll show you a patriarch that served time. That's one thing I know from growing up on the Jersey, Manhattan border. Anybody who has made money developing a waterfront has gone to jail.
Yeah, well, those waterfronts don't come free. So you either pay for them or you go to jail for a little bit for not.
I could have been a contender.
So she becomes Victoria's Secret angel. And this is when she's like, I guess, truly a celebrity. Around this time, it's when she becomes friends with Taylor Swift. They also met at a Victoria's Secret fashion show after
I want to back up and talk about this.
Okay.
So they met in the weirdest way.
Her and Taylor?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were like set up on friendship dates by like hair and makeup people. People were always telling both of them that they should be each other's friends, apparently, they're saying, because they were both like the good girls of Hollywood. So Karlie Kloss
guess Karlie had a cookie business and Taylor was making pies on Instagram.
But like literally, so Karlie became known for like being the sweet, nerdy girl who always came to set with like cookies for all the hair and makeup girls. And she was always making cookies. And then she ended up doing like a collab and sold her cookies for charity. And then obviously Taylor is a good girl who wants everybody to like her. And apparently like hair and makeup people are always like, you would get along, you're both such good girls. And in 2012, Taylor tweeted at Karlie and was like, I want to bake with you, Karlie Kloss. And Karlie Kloss is like, anytime. And then Taylor just never responds. And then they don't meet until the fashion show in 2013, at which point they become such good friends that like a week later they go to Big Sur together. They go, literally, Karlie's like, I just said, do you want to do something random? And Taylor was like, I want to go to Big Sur.
Sure. And then they had a very publicized friendship. They were always together. They did a Vogue cover together.
Yeah, they did a Vogue together the next year, which I find very interesting. This, of course, was during Taylor's like bad blood girlfriends era. And it was really funny because Taylor Swift was really like, it's about being empowered and being whoever you want to be and not listening to the narrative. And that's why I've taken their feedback that I have too many boyfriends and I've proven them wrong by completely pivoting my entire life
to female friendship.
That's an empowering way to be that does not allow them to control the narrative. Interestingly enough, Karlie Kloss is also cementing herself as a girl boss on the other side. So she had already been starting codes with Karlie.
Mm-hmm.
She launches this in 2015, right after she left Victoria's Secret.
And enrolled in NYU.
Yeah. And then she also was like vlogging. So she was kind of the early internet vlogging girls, like she was one of the first people to be like, oh, I'm not just a face, I can be a voice via social media.
Yeah.
I think it's important to know Joshua Kushner, who she started dating at 19, who's 9 years her senior, was an early investor of Instagram.
Yes.
So I do think there's probably a tie in there that he's like, look at this cool new app. I bet you could do something here.
Yeah. So she was a Victoria's Secret angel from 2013 to 2015. In 2014, she took a coding boot camp at the Flatiron School.
Yeah.
Which is like, I believe, patient zero for the direct-to-consumer era. Like all of those website programmers who sold like direct-to-consumer bed sheets are from the Flatiron School.
I don't even know what that is. That's so funny.
It's just like a coding boot camp that like a lot of people learned how to make a website and then got a job as like the person at Brooklinen.
Interesting. That's so funny. So I went back and watched some of her older like Klossy videos, which were her vlogs. I watched like answering your questions, and she has such a Taylor Swift person. Like you can feel the way that she's so millennial, girl bossy, sweet, like just, oh my God, like I'm authentic. My ring fell off, but like I have a perfect answer for everything. And like my favorite ever, wings. And like, what do I like to do after a hard day?
Can I say something about the way she talks? I feel like she has such a way about her that's like down to her name. Like her name sounds like a name that you say wearing a retainer. And like she is girl who wears her retainer.
You know what I would describe her as? Girl that really impresses your parents, and you're like, as a 13-year-old, so mad that your mom doesn't see through her bullshit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? She has such the energy of the girl in your high school who blacks out the most, but every parent thinks she's really sweet.
Thanks, Mrs. Parker.
Like literally you're like, Mom, she's so fake. And your mom's like, I think she's a nice girl. Why can't you hang out with her? And I'm like, she's the meanest girl in school, Mom. She brought your grandmother those cookies. She always says hello to me at basketball games.
She was so nice to you at your birthday party.
Yeah, in front of, remember when you fell and she picked you up and dusted you off and offered you a skirt in front of all the mothers, and you're like, she gave me her ugliest skirt. It was all a bruise.
That time you got your period at school, she gave you her sweater to tie around your waist. She told everyone I had my period.
It really, like, she has that exact energy. So something that she says in this Klossy video that really made me laugh, because I feel like it's so emblematic of an era and who she is somebody says, do you have a favorite quote? Guess what her favorite quote is? You can't, because she misquotes it. She does everybody's favorite Eleanor Roosevelt quote, but how she says it is she says, nobody has the right to make you feel inferior without your consent, so don't let them.
Oh.
Which is different than the actual quote, which
that feels so like modern day TikTokified. Nobody has the right.
Well, exactly. Okay, so the actual quote is that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent.
Yeah.
Which is about placing the nexus of self-determining on your own self, right? Like it's like, if someone makes you feel inferior, it means you've agreed to it. So like keep that in mind. Like you are actually determining how you feel about yourself, and no one else gets to pick for you.
I learned it from the Princess Diaries.
Exactly. But it is so funny to be like, no one has the right to make you feel inferior, so don't let them. Which is like different because again, it's saying like the nexus of who has control in this scenario is actually like the law. And like, okay, they may have made you feel inferior, but they're not allowed to. So you can like tell a teacher and they will get in trouble. And I'm like, no. It's not about like making them stick to it. It's about saying, I have control over myself and my self-belief.
Oh my God, the original let them.
Yeah. So don't let them, which is like the opposite of let them.
No, I think Eleanor Roosevelt is the original let them. Like that is, I think, what Mel Robbins was initially trying to do and like bastardized within herself by trying to turn it into a whole book. But it is about how like you decide how other people's actions affect you and like other people's statements and behaviors affect you personally.
2012, Karlie starts dating Jared and Taylor texts her or tweets at her. 2013, they meet at the Victoria's Secret show finally with Fall Out Boy. 2014, this is interesting. They said it somewhere. I couldn't find the initial source, but everybody was quoting it. Apparently, Taylor was thinking about moving to London from LA.
Okay.
And Karlie has gone on record saying, I absolutely banned it. I was like, no, you have to move to New York.
Wait a second.
And 2014 is when Kissgate happens at the 1975 concert. Taylor goes home, likes a bunch of Kaylor posts on Tumblr, and then unlikes them in the morning. Also around this time is when famously Karlie Kloss had that townhouse in the West Village that had a garden gate, and Taylor was living on Cornelia Street in that giant apartment that had a room for Karlie specifically. And I think this is interesting. This is when the gay rumors started happening and people were like, oh my God, are Karlie and Taylor living together? And Karlie's team released a statement to Gawker saying they currently do not live together and they do not plan on living together, but left the lesbian rumors unacknowledged.
Huh.
And this I think is important because I think it establishes a pattern of Karlie's team knowing how to use publicity with Taylor. And I don't think Taylor's not using it too, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like Karlie's team seems much more comfortable with allowing the gay rumors to flourish than Taylor's team. But they are clearly both using each other for press.
Yeah. And I think what's so interesting at this point that I realized going through this timeline is the way that when we talk about celebrity relationships, I feel like one of the first things we talk about is like who's benefiting in what way PR wise. And I don't feel like it's something that I've really considered with celebrity friendships heavily.
And I do think they kind of pioneered it a bit. I guess Ben and Matt did it. I mean, we now know Taylor to be the most like specific person about how to market herself. She is obsessed with marketing herself. It's so funny. I'm reading all of this stuff and doing all this research. I kept thinking about the way Taylor recently claimed she'll never Easter egg her personal life. And even her own stance were like, well, that's just not true. You used to put like boy's name in jacket lining stuff. But as we'll get to later, when she did the Look What You Made Me Do music video, she's wearing a t-shirt that has all of her friends' names on it. And Karlie's name is not there. And that feels so psychotically deliberate for a girl who had just gotten off the 1989 tour where she had been like traipsing about her friends doing the Bad Blood music video. Do you know what I mean? Like that is creating drama for no reason. Like it's very 7th grade to be like, it's a top MySpace top 8 to be like, I'm actually always going to say who my best friends are. And I'll let the public who picks apart everything I do. This video that has a million Easter eggs on purpose, like this one's a list.
Yeah, and I think that that's also one of the things that made her 1,000-person wedding so interesting is that she is someone who sits here and says she wants privacy, but like she's essentially broadcasting who's on the invite list for 4th of July most years. Like for this to be this year's 4th of July is 1,000 people was
oh my God, that's such a funny
interesting
tie-in. Yeah, it's true. She's always just had famous people there. Anyway, so back to the timeline. 2014, Taylor almost moves to London, but Karlie bans it. Karlie Kloss's team is giving statements. Kissgate at 1975.
Kissgate at 1975 means Taylor Swift and Karlie Kloss were making out at the 1975 concert.
Okay, so I watched the video. I think making out is an overstatement.
Okay.
They are on a balcony. It's a grainy video, and they do pull each other in a way that can only be described as a kiss on the mouth.
Yeah.
They never come out and deny it, which is odd, but it definitely looks like they're kissing on the mouth. Now that I've heard this, I don't know, something about this idea that she was going to move to London and Karlie was like, don't. I guess I have this idea that it was all to impress Maddie Healy.
Yeah.
I do feel that now that we know the Maddie Healy piece of this puzzle, that there is something, like, I just feel like she did kiss her hot model friend to impress the boy on stage.
Yes.
I don't feel, I'm not a Gaylor. I don't not believe that she's ever hooked up with one of these girls. I've heard lots of rumors that it was always Martha Hunt and not Karlie Kloss. I feel like she was going to move to London, try to get Maddie Healy. And Karlie was like, don't play it cool. And then they were like kissing and being sexy.
Oh, and I agree with that. I feel like reading all of this and then that piece of information, now that we know that her and Maddie Healy have this 10-year on again, off again thing, I guess she was going to move to London to try to like make it official. And then, you know, it seems like Karlie told her not to. And,
she was good
was
advice.
right. Karlie was right. But also, I think that the more I've read about this Karlie Kloss relationship, especially the way it was kind of a flash in the pan. Like we think of it as this like epic part of Taylor's like friendship history. And it was like maybe 3 years.
It's like a year and a half that happens to have started late fall 2013 and ends like early spring 2015.
Yeah. So the more that I feel like I looked into it, the more that I don't know, Karlie Kloss, and I'm not trying to say that Karlie Kloss is like conniving in any way. I just do feel that it was a factor in the raising of her profile in mainstream media.
And I do want to say this overall about Taylor Swift. I do feel she has a lot of friends that are like good friends that come and go. And I think just by virtue of the fact that she is gone all the time and she is so busy. And I was even reading this thing that Lena Dunham said about what it is to be friends with Taylor. And she's like, Taylor's such a good friend. She always texts you on your birthday. She always texts you when you have a book. She's like really good at texting, sending flowers. And I do believe she's good at those moments. But if you thought you were going to have a real friend, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think she's the quintessential friend that a lot of us have in college where you like stay in touch via Instagram and you think they're your best friend. And then you meet up one day for a long weekend and you're like, oh, we have nothing in common. But there's all these like performances of friendship that you're really good at, like a bachelorette or blah, blah, blah. But like if you think someone's your best friend, that can be very painful.
And especially someone like Taylor Swift who, you know, we know people who work in film and stuff like that. There are very distinct phases of your life where you can be so much more available and so much more present, and then periods of your life where you're like extremely busy. And I think Taylor specifically is someone who like her relationship with Karlie was like between album cycles.
Yeah. So 2015, they do this joint Vogue cover and they're doing so much media together. They're doing like late night shows together. They're doing this photo shoot. Like they really are marketing themselves as best friends. It's weird to share a Vogue cover because it's clearly like Taylor's cover that for some reason Karlie just came to, because the interview was mostly about Taylor and it's about how Karlie is friends with Taylor. And then of course they're both on the cover, but like they're on Jimmy Kimmel and Taylor's sitting on Karlie's lap and they are like always talking about each other as best friends and doing these photo shoots. Like that's weird.
Yeah.
It is. I get that we do it, but we do a business together. Anyway, and it comes right on the tail end of, in 2015, Karlie announces she's leaving Victoria's Secret, which is funny. There's 2 reasons given for why later. In 2018, she does an article saying that around that time she had gone on birth control and went up to a size 4'6" and nobody would work with her anymore. So that's why she decided to like move on to less modeling based things. And then in a 2019 interview, she said, I left because of feminism and because I wanted to stake my claim and not perpetuating like negative body cycles anymore. So those are 2 very different. One is like, I put on weight and nobody wanted to work with me. And then the other one's like, actually, I had the choice. Yeah, I left.
Well, one is you can't fire me, I quit.
Yeah. And I quit because I'm morally superior.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she starts Codes with Karlie that spring. Like she is on this kind of like, I'm moving on kick.
She's always had something else. And I think that's what's so interesting about Karlie. And that is, I think, like the fruits of that labor, I think is like what we're about to see is that she has always been doing something. She was a model, but she had her cookie,
Karlie's cookies. Yeah.
She had her cookie collab. Then she had her coding boot camp. And then she had her, like, she does a lot of other things. When she started buying magazines, that was like 2019, 2020. So this is all happening in like a pretty short amount of time where like her just modeling was like from age 15 to 19.
Yeah. And then she had her cookies thing. And she says, like, I always knew I was ambitious. I never thought this would be my final career. I never chose to be a model. It just happened. And I recognized that it afforded me other opportunities. So then in 2015, of course, she starts Codes with Klossy, which to this day still exists and has 11,000 alumna. She also signs with Scooter Braun's company.
Interesting.
Yeah. At this point, there is not a lot of beef. He is representing Kanye. He's representing, which like obviously Kanye and Taylor have beef, but I feel like it hasn't come to a head yet. He also does Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande. Something interesting about Scooter Braun that I learned, he has a sunset clause, which means that if you ever sign with him, you owe him earnings for 4 years after you leave.
Huh.
Which I do see how that makes it very hard to go.
Yeah. Because then if you get a new manager, you're paying 2 managers.
Mm-hmm. So then 2016 is when Famous, the Kanye single, drops and Taylor Swift comes out and says that I wish to be released from this narrative that I never asked to be a part of. And then Kim Kardashian releases the tapes. And this is when Snakegate happens. Everyone starts calling Taylor Swift a snake. Karlie Kloss is asked about Taylor Swift and if Kim Kardashian is a mean person. And she says, I don't know Kim well enough to decide if she's mean or not. Obviously, the Swifties come for Karlie. Karlie then goes on Twitter and is like, I don't believe in women ripping apart women. I always have Taylor's back. Like, you can never use me to rip down another woman. Which is like crazy if this is your best friend. At this point, she's being seen with like enemies, okay? She's seen with Kendall, who used to be Taylor's friend, but then had to become
on Kim's side because of the sistersness.
They post in 2016, they post for each other's birthdays, which is August and December, but they're not really seen together. In 2017, we do not see them together at all. Taylor does not post with Karlie, but Karlie posts for Taylor's birthday an old selfie, suggesting that they, in fact, have not taken a photo together. She keeps saying that she is, in fact, still friends with her. She's asked about it in interviews, and she's like, of course, we're still really good friends. We're just both so busy. She's amazing. To this day, she like only speaks glowingly of Taylor. But that year, she's seen with Katy Perry, who's an enemy, Scooter Braun, who's an enemy. Karlie is still liking all of Taylor's stuff. Karlie then gets engaged to Joshua Kushner. Taylor sings a Haley Kiyoko lyric, specifically being like, the lyric is something like, you'd be happier with me, but you're going and sleeping with him the day after Karlie gets engaged. I used to say that's a freak occurrence, but now that I see the way Taylor really does use live performances to talk to exes, I'm like, yeah, that bitch is crazy.
Yeah.
And then in 2018, Karlie's saying we're still good friends. Taylor likes Karlie's wedding photos, but obviously doesn't go. And then here's what's really crazy. So after Scooter buys her masters, Taylor's masters, Karlie is seen on his yacht. She's like still doing Vogue cover stuff. There's rumors from Perez Hilton that the beef between Taylor and Karlie are that Karlie was giving Scooter information behind Taylor's back. This post by Perez Hilton was liked by Ashley Avignon and this other friend of Taylor's named Claire something. And that does seem to me to make it legit.
Yeah. This deep dive has made me realize, and again, I don't want it to sound like I'm like disparaging Karlie. I'm anthropologically studying her. I think she is quite a bit more calculated than I had ever realized. She's a coder, for Christ's sake.
Well, someone we know said that they worked at Karlie's company.
Yes.
And when I said, how come she's always posting those Instagrams that seems like to be tied back to Taylor? He goes, oh, because she's aware of Taylor and she knows that that's the most press she gets. Like she's playing into it constantly.
Yes. And I think the way that we have seen in our studies of pop culture, the way that like when something has a transactional element of it, like I feel like there's always one party that's like emotionally butthurt and one party that's like more press. You know what I mean? Like when something starts off transactional, like if one side gets real emotions, and I don't even know that it necessarily started out transactional, but I think that from Karlie's side, there was more of a transactional element to it the whole time.
Yeah. Well, I think she had more to gain.
Yes.
And the problem is obviously Taylor plays into that. Like this famous trip to Big Sur, they were posting on Instagram immediately together. So like Taylor was down to be seen with this woman. Like you don't share a Vogue cover.
Right.
Because you're not like playing up the performance of your friendship. You know what I mean? Since then, she's been friends with Gigi. She's been friends with like, I don't know. She hasn't done Vogue with any of her other friends. Ashley Avignon has not been on Vogue.
Exactly.
What's her name? Abigail has not been on the cover of Vogue yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that it, you know, of course, might have to do with timing, that it happened to fall when Taylor was like, I'm not even responding to your guys' criticism that I only hang out with guys by now hanging out with girls. But I think it also has to do with like people liked the two of them together.
And so it is. So as you said, so they fall out. She marries Joshua. She converts to Judaism, which she's like always talking about.
Yeah.
She claims she does Shabbat every week. Does that seem possible?
I guess.
You think she takes Friday to Saturday off every week?
Well, what does do Shabbat mean to her?
She's saying she's like
Shomer Shabbos. Like she goes offline.
Yeah, that's what she claims. And I'm like, can that be true? I feel like I could find a photo of you out and about on a Friday night.
Well, I guess you can go out and about.
She's not walking.
Is she behind the wheel of a car?
Maybe she has, I will say, I guess you're right. Maybe she has so many servants. Can you go to a restaurant during Shabbos?
Is she paying?
Is that really how it is? Like if someone else orders and pays, it's like, all you have to say is like, I could really go for a steak tartare right now.
Like, I guess to me, she seems like the most possible because I feel like she would be the most like,
yeah,
the loopholes are the loop. You know what I mean? Like
all I said is I wish someone would take a photo of me right now. How lucky.
Like if she's not operating the camera, if she's not operating her phone, if she has people who run her social media and there are posts on Saturdays, like I don't know that that means she's posting on Saturdays.
Well, good for her.
The Lord will remember that she's the good one and I'm the bad one. Just kidding. We have no hell.
She
I
has
don't care.
3 kids. She obviously ended up getting to go to Taylor Swift's wedding. She leaked to the press that she got invited, and then she got paparazzi photos taken of her going.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly she's really into that. And then now her big thing is buying up magazines. Do you want to talk to people about that? Because I know you listened to her on Emma Greedy's podcast, right?
Yeah. So she has been since 2020 purchasing magazines. She has, when Vice folded, she bought ID magazine. She also is a part owner of Life magazine, which she credits to Joshua. She says that was his idea to buy that one. And then she also is a part owner. She was like kind of the leader of gathering investors to buy W when that was going under. And in all of these interviews, she's talking about the ways that she wants to preserve these magazines. And like she's always admired the cultural impact of these outlets that she's bought. But it obviously does raise a question of like, what media empire is she trying to build? She said something so interesting in more than one of these interviews where she said that running a magazine is like having a startup in a classic car.
No, a vintage car.
A vintage car. And she's like, it operates like a startup. There's so much to do. But like, I find that to be like a really interesting thing to be so passionate about. Like that to be so proud of. Like she talks a little bit about like trying to revolutionize magazines for the modern era, but that doesn't really have much to do with like it seems like what she's doing.
Can I say it really is a good point because she also throughout this has been the Heidi Klum of Project Runway. When they brought that back, she became the host of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you add it all up, she has Karlie's Cookies with Milk Bar. She has Coding with Klossy. She has hosting on TV, and then she's buying up old media. I don't really know what the through line is.
Right. And some of the things that she's talking about, these are the things that I did find interesting, is why she bought these magazines. She says it was because it's harder to build a brand from the ground up than it is to like take over and gut an established name, basically. Like she's like, they've already established
themselves. That's why
themselves.
Allbirds is becoming an AI company.
Exactly. And like she's talked about how she feels there's a lot of interesting opportunity in classic like print media. But I think the thing that felt true is that she said that it feels more like she's working in experiential marketing and experiential media. Like she's creating, I mean, we hear this all the time. Like all these brands are looking to provide experience and to have like a tactile product, like a magazine. I think it's not so much about like bringing back magazines, but it's having like a physical item that you can like throw parties for and celebrate with like
a
media arm. And so I think that like printing out the magazine is the loss so that you have like the title that you can like have events and experiences under. And so it really begs the question of like what she's building, because it feels like obviously she's been trying to do something, like she's never been just a model. She has all these businesses. She's had all these ideas. She's been blogging. She's been blogging. She's been doing all of these things. Now she has these media titles, and she bought those while she was like getting married and her, you know, having young children. Now I feel like we're seeing her emerge back into the zeitgeist after staying kind of, like you said, like on the periphery for about 6 years. She never was out of the picture, but she wasn't like going after headlines, I would say.
I feel like she might have just backed the wrong horse.
Maybe.
I wonder if like when Taylor went down, she was like, Scooter Braun seemed like the winning guy for a while.
Yeah.
To have Ariana, Justin, and Kanye.
Maybe.
And then everybody turned on Taylor. And she's like, well, obviously Kim Kardashian's going further than Taylor is.
I guess part of me wonders if it's that, but I also could be very convinced that she was like putting her ducks in a row.
Well, she said in this one interview that she took time off to like basically have her 3 kids.
Exactly. But like I also view that as like lining up the business side of all the things she's working on, because she seems to me very like well planned.
Yeah. I wonder what the end goal is.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I don't know.
She's claiming that she's never met Donald Trump. She's like maintained that she's a Democrat. I will say she fights for abortion rights really hard in her hometown, and she donates. And like there is like a charitable bent to everything she does. All the money from Karlie's Cookies go to donation. Like, you know what I mean? There is like a do-gooderism to her.
Yeah. And so now we have her reemerging kind of with she's at Taylor's wedding. She was with Esty Haim at concerts. They're hanging out all the time. She did this like Bloomberg piece where she was interviewed and is like kind of just soft serving everything that she's accomplished and all of her hopes and dreams for the future. And again, she says she's never met Donald Trump. She considers herself a Democrat. She says my husband's family is not me. I feel like things are lining up right now for like a fat announcement of some sort.
Yeah, I wonder what their end goal is.
I guess I think it's for the Kushners to also own a liberal media platform.
Oh, interesting.
Because there are pretty few right now that are free agents.
I guess I wonder if it is all just she's the cleanser to him. Do you know what I mean? She's going to buy their right into being cool, because it is kind of still charitable to buy a magazine. And he has made money off of Instagram and Oscar Health. Like he is, I think, a billionaire in his own right from VC funding.
Yeah.
So I wonder if she just gets like $100 million a year to sanitize their image.
Yeah, maybe.
And like, what's cooler than owning all the cool magazines?
Nothing. Life magazine, for Christ's sakes.
That's the Karlie Kloss rundown. If anybody has any insight into who she is. But I do agree, she's smart in that she knew the value of being associated with Taylor, and none of that's been an accident. I wonder if the reason she was able to claw her way back in is because there wasn't really that big of a falling out between the two of them. I wonder if there was just like a mutual understanding that things moved on. But I wonder if like Taylor can let her back in now that she's married and all the gay rumors will be quelched.
I also wonder if they like have more in common now, that they like once again have a lot in common by like having MAGA rumored partners.
And I also think Taylor does know the end of a narrative. Something really interesting that I thought somebody said, I'm trying to think who it was, if it was like my fave Georgie on TikTok. But she was talking about like now that this narrative chapter of Taylor's life has closed, the who will she marry, now she has to find other threads. And it is like the public falling out with Blake Lively is this will they, won't they? And it's interesting that the wedding was used as a moment of forgiveness of Karlie, while it was also such a moment of
was exiling of Blake.
Yeah, like it felt very public. It felt like very punishing to like Blake can't be here, but Karlie can.
Yeah.
And I also do think Taylor knows how to use the media, and she knows that like anything that has to do with Karlie is a big moment for her.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested in what Karlie's working on.
And I guess we can't escape the Taylor Swift of it all.
And can I say, Karlie looks so beautiful.
Yeah, she looks good. I can't believe that like one of the most famous models of the 2000s is pretty.
I can't believe she's
the ripe
kept it
age
together.
of 33.